Hello everyone, welcome back to Newcastle Fans TV. This is the preview for the game against Burnley at St James's Park. Yes, it's Newcastle versus Burnley. We haven't had a home game for 4 weeks. It seems like a long time since Newcastle drew 0-0 with Norwich. Yes, a really memorable match. Yeah, let's start this preview. We've got Kyle. He'll be starting with the generic preview for Newcastle versus Burnley. We'll get his thoughts on a possible new formation for Newcastle this weekend. We then have Owen. He'll be looking at the opposition. Burnley. What are Burnley good at? What are Burnley not so good at? And how good of a job has Sean Dyche done? Get your comments below if he should be considered for another top job, maybe the Everton job in the future, or a top 6 job, something like that on the lines for Sean Dyche in the future. And everyone's been asking, where is Paul Rutter? Well, I can tell you where Paul Rutter is. He is still a man in his van. He's still a very busy man. And he's going to give you the combined 11. So yeah, let's get this preview started. We're going to start with Kyle. He's going to give you his thoughts for the generic preview. Kyle, take it away.
Well, we've got Steve Bruce, and I think there is still plenty to be positive about. I know the past 2 games have been very poor, and the lads will back us up in the chat. I was kind of in rant mode on Saturday. I wasn't in any videos. I wasn't a happy bunny on Saturday, because in the chat I was calling for Bruce's head and everything. But I've had a couple of days to think it over, and there is some things to still be positive about. You know, we're not in the bottom 3. This time last season we were near or thereabouts there. So there is plenty to be optimistic about, because when Bruce took over, nobody expected us to be in this position. We're 7 points above the drop. I mean, I would have bit your hand off, and I say, if we stay up now, when he was first appointed, I would have bit your hand off. So for me, I think there is still some things to be positive about, but the one thing that I can't be positive about anymore is this wing-back formation. Don't get us wrong, it's proved to work against the big 6, because we've got more points outside the top 6 than any other teams against the big 6 this season, playing that formation. And against them teams, I do not mind playing it, because it contains them. We can hit them on the counter attack when they make 1 or 2 mistakes, and we can punish them, and we're sound defensively enough to hurt teams like that. That being said, against these smaller teams like Watford, like Norwich, Crystal Palace, Burnley away, Brighton, where we've only scored like 1 or even not scored at all, we need to take more initiative and push forward. Because I'm not just saying this is Steve Bruce, I'm not, because Rafa did this as well, where he was very stubborn in his ways. He didn't change the system at any point. He kept with the same thing, and it hurt a little bit in these type of games. And I feel with the attacking players that we have, the likes of Saint-Maximin, the likes of Miggy Almiron, if you give them service, I feel they can go forward and cause a lot of problems if they've got service in and around them in the front parts of the field. Personally, I'll go for 4-2-3-1. Let us know what you think in the comments, what we should change and what we should go with. But I think 4-2-3-1, the spine of the squad is used to playing that from the Championship. The likes of Jamal Lascelles, the likes of Isaac Hayden, John Joe Shelby when he comes back, Matt Ritchie, Dwight Gale. They're used to playing that formation, so that's something I would go with on Saturday. But let us know what you think. If you would want to go completely left field and play a 4-3-3 or 4-4-2, let us know. Because it's not an easy fix. It's not, because the past couple of years under Rafa, we've been kind of a drilled defensive side, so it's hard to make it an attacking side. And I get that, it's hard to adapt. But I just feel against these lower sides, it is needed, because Burnley are living proof that if you get the results against the lower sides in the league, where the quality pool is quite close, between bottom and 8th, very little. Norwich could sign a couple of players and be right up there. So it is really close between those teams, and I feel we can take advantage of that. And Burnley have. Look where they are, the 8th and fighting for the Europa League again. So it is something we need to look to do. I know it's a risk because of how open we can be in midfield, but to counter that, I'll play Hayden in the midfield alongside Matty Longstaff on Saturday, because Matty's got the energy and Hayden's got the steel in midfield that you need. And if you're going to play Sean, play him in the number 10. Personally, I would drop him because of the way he played against Palace at the weekend, and I'll play Ritchie as Lazaro's suspended, Almiron and Maximin, with Gale as the forward. I'd drop Jordan. But yeah, let us know what you think of the formation. That's what I would go with. In terms of predictions, if we can start early and get a good start and get the crowd behind the team and try and get an early goal, I really think we can win this one. But Burnley are a hard team. If we don't score in the first 20 minutes, it is going to be a hard game because Burnley defensively are very, very sound, and it's going to take a good bit of skill, or it's going to take a good passing move to get through them. And as shown in the last time we played these, we're going to have more of the ball, so it's a perfect chance to try a 4-2-3-1 formation where we're going to have more of the ball. You can like look at that and see what we can do going forward, because even with the wing back system, we had more of the ball against Burnley, so we're going to have more of the ball. It's what we do with the ball that counts, though. As I say, if we can get an early goal and get the crowd behind, we can win this one. But it is going to be a frustrating game if we don't get that early goal. But yeah, let us know what you think in the comments, and yeah, back to you, Johnny.
Very, very interesting, Kyle. Changing the system. Would you like to say go 4-2-3-1, same as Kyle? Would you put Isaac Hayden back in the team? I've been going on about this for ages, about putting Isaac Hayden back in this team. And he also wants Matty Longstaff back in. Is he the energy that Newcastle need going into this game against Burnley? And let's face it, it's a bit of a must-win game, it has to be said. Now, Owen. Owen was at the game against Crystal Palace last week. If you haven't seen the video between me, Fordy and Owen scoring the players at Crystal Palace, I thoroughly recommend it. It was one of the best videos I've done in a long, long time. It was heated, it had debates, everyone was disagreeing with each other. But yeah, Owen is back. He's going to give you his thoughts on Burnley. And Burnley have done very, very well, it has to be said. Beating Manchester United by 2-0 recently. Owen's going to give you his thoughts on Burnley, and his prediction will be at the end. Owen, take it away.
So let's just hit it straight off with their last 6 fixtures. They have lost once in their last 6 and are unbeaten in their last 3. Their last 6 fixtures have been Bournemouth, Southampton, Arsenal, Norwich, Man United and Leicester. They beat Bournemouth 3-0 most recently. Other highlighted results in those 6 are probably, when you look at them, them beating Man United 2-0 at Old Trafford. That's a massive statement. And beating Leicester 2-1. Bournemouth, they're in poor form, but to beat a team 3-0 still wasn't easy. Bournemouth were unlucky in that game to have 2 goals ruled out through VAR, but I do think they were the correct decisions. So they've been in good form, Burnley. They're a good side. I was about to say they're a good footballing side, but they don't play pretty football. But neither do Newcastle. The opposite between Burnley and Newcastle is that Burnley play horrible football but get results, and Newcastle seem to be playing horrible football but not getting results. So something needs to change there, I think, from Newcastle's perspective. Their top scorer this season is Chris Wood with 10 goals. He was in the Championship the same season as we were. He finished the season something like 30 goals or 29 goals or something like that, which is insane amount of goals. He's proved to be able to do it in the Premier League as well. Ashley Barnes is also dangerous. I'm not quite sure whether he's fit for Burnley. And Jay Rodriguez as well. He's got 8 goals this season. He's averaging a goal every 195 minutes at Burnley. So that's like a goal every 2 games, every other game. So yeah, that is good from Burnley's perspective. They've got players who can convert chances, which is in a large contrast to Newcastle, who have 3 forwards who have 4 goals between them in the Premier League. Obviously, saint-maximin and Joelinton on 1 each, and then Almiron's got 2 in the Premier League this season. Well, they're not the prettiest side to watch, but they have their own special, unique talents. For instance, they love to put crosses in the box. And I think this is where 3 defenders for us will come in handy this weekend, because you'll have 3 defenders to head balls away. Although, when I was at Palace on Saturday, Fordy was pointing out to me that no one seems to want to jump for crosses in the Newcastle back line at the moment, and I completely agree with him. Look at the crosses that have gone into the box in the last 2 games. Arsenal, Lazaro doesn't even jump for Aubameyang's header, and we were lucky not to concede a header in the Crystal Palace game as well. You think of Cahill's header and Dubravka's excellent save. Our players need to start jumping for those, but yeah. Burnley love to whip crosses into the box, and obviously they've got good headers of the ball as well. They love to play the long ball out from the back, whether it's their full backs in Lowton, and Eric Peters. But you look at their danger men as well. Tarkowski, Wood, even Nick Pope to some extent. He's an excellent keeper and he'll be looking to keep Newcastle out this weekend at St James's Park. Little hidden gems in there. You wouldn't see the top 6 going in for these players. You wouldn't see the top 6 wanting to buy these players, but they're good players. Names like Dwight Mcneil and Robert Brady could both deliver a ball. Dwight Mcneil is probably one of the most exciting young talents in the Premier League at the moment. Burnley are relatively lucky to have him. His goal against Bournemouth the other day was excellent. He hit the post against Bournemouth as well. Dwight McNeil is someone I'd love to have on the Newcastle side and would definitely bring something new to Newcastle. And I can see him moving on to bigger and better things in his career rather than just staying at Burnley. But yeah, Burnley is going to be a tough game, I feel like. Last season we did beat them 2-0 at home. Fabian Schär and Sean Longstaff the goal scorers. And I'm not sure whether I can see a repeat of that this season. However, Newcastle are always full of surprises. And yeah, so my prediction is probably going to be... I'm going to go with a 1-1. That's optimistic for me because I was going to say 2-1 to Burnley, but I'm going to go 1-1. You never know, we might see another late Newcastle equaliser, you never know. But yeah, 1-1 is my prediction, and that is looking at the opposition.
1-1, that's what Owen's going for, and he thinks that'll be a good point. 1-1 at home to Burnley. How times have fallen for Newcastle United this top year. I'm wearing Alan Shearer scored hat-tricks in the Champions League against Bayer Leverkusen in that season. But yeah, it's a sorry state of affairs when you see Newcastle United drawing 1-1 with Burnley and people are considering it as a good result. But nevertheless, we'll go on. Just a thing, if you haven't already, we do have a Facebook subscription group. It's £3.49 a month, but you get extra content. You get all the announcements that we announce to everybody before anybody else. So we have actually got a couple of announcements coming up. Maybe a different location for videos in the future. Who knows? You might see it on Saturday. I'm just a messenger. In all seriousness, no, it's worthwhile. Kyle does videos regularly, so does Paul and Lee, and myself and Owen and Rob are just getting used to it as well. So I thoroughly recommend it. And again, it's a small amount, but you get extra Newcastle Fans TV content. What is not to like, exactly? Paul Rutter. Everyone's been asking where Paul Rutter is, and I've been banging on about it. Paul, we need you to get back on video sooner rather than later. He's answered the call. He's in his van, and he thinks that I look like a footballer for some reason. I don't think I do. Like, I think I look a bit better than this footballer that he mentions at the start of his clip, at the start of his video. But yeah, he's gone for the predicted 11. Who does he think should play up top, and what formation do you think he goes for? Paul, it's all yours.
Cheers for the introduction there, Rooney. Yes, I'm still about. I'm still here. So this is my combined Burnley and Newcastle Select 11. Not an easy task. When I was asked to do it, I thought, yeah, easy, no problem. But when you start looking at it, it's a lot more difficult. And starting in goal, of course, it's Martin Dubravka. Absolutely easy as decision, this one. When you consider that this man has saved us more times than Batman, Superman, Iron Man, anyone or woman that you would like to put in there, he's saved us more than that, hasn't he? Let's be honest. If it wasn't for him, where would we be? Probably bottom of the league, let's be honest. And again, even in defeat at Selhurst Park, heroic goalkeeping at times. So yeah, although they've got Nick Pope, and he is a fantastic keeper, no doubt about it, I went with Martin Dubravka in goal. So in defence, I will start with left back, Matt Ritchie. To me, he's a man amongst men, a born leader, wears his heart in his sleeve. You always will get a 7 out of 10. You'll always get huff, puff. He's capable of crossing, he's capable of scoring, he's good from the penalty spot. Beside him, easy one, Jamal Lascelles, club captain. We need to be careful with this lad because I think if we don't progress as a football club, we could end up losing him. I really do. I think he's capable of a high level of football. Again, great leader. A defender who likes to defend and likes to keep clean sheets. Not maybe the best technically gifted player, but again, when you want that heart on the sleeve, when you want that leadership, he is the man that you'd want there. Beside him, again, it could have been a few, but I went for Fabian Schär, or Schär, whichever way you want to pronounce it. You know me, in pronunciation isn't very good. But for me, he's got a goal in him. He's a classy, silky defender. Quality is very good. He can play a few positions as well. And again, like I've mentioned with Jamal Lascelles, a player who could go on to play at a higher level, and we need to be careful that we are not going to be losing players of that quality coming up. Beside him, and again, creative license, Ben Mee of Burnley. Again, another player, a defender. When I think of a defender who just likes to defend and likes to keep clean sheets, he comes to mind. I could have gone for the other lad, James, you know who I'm on about, but me and pronunciation weren't ever going to agree, so Ben Mee it was. I think he's a cracking player. I know he's getting on, 29, 30 now, something like that, but just loves to defend, loves to keep clean sheets, and why not for a centre-back. Into midfield, and again, this was difficult. There was players that I've had to leave out that I wouldn't have liked to leave out. Even the likes of John Joe Shelby because of his goals and stuff like that. But yeah, Dwight Mcneil, if there was one player that we could sign from Burnley for the Newcastle first team, he would probably be my choice. He's a young lad. He's got assists in him. He's got goals. He can play through balls. He can get crosses in. He's good at set pieces. And he's a really exciting prospect. And what is there not to like about that sort of prospect coming into your team at any time? Beside him, and that is Isaac Hayden, Mr. Steady Eddie. Again, you're always going to get a 7 out of 10 out of him. He was always wear his heart on his sleeve, proud to wear the colours. Since he's got his head focused on Newcastle and he's got away from this wanting to move and all this sort of thing, he's been a revelation. Shouldn't have been dropped. He'll put his foot in, tackle hard, try and get the ball moving, pass it nice and simple, crisp to another player. Knows his limitations, but plays well to it. Beside him, again, creative license, comment section, creative license, Miguel Almiron. I have stuck up for this lad through the criticisms about goals, then him scoring goals and on and on. If you look at a lot of the goals Newcastle do score, they come through him, whether he's won free kicks, whether he's won set pieces, whether he's took us from defending out, deep in our box to going on a mazy run and getting something going. He's involved in everything good that Newcastle do, and he joins ASM. Again, if he was in a team that had some of the ball and more of the possession, think of a la Wolves, that would be a perfect fit for him. He would be a revelation. He's got the tricks, the flicks, the pace. He can score goals. He needs to maybe work on his crossing, but he's exciting, and when he's got the ball, the crowd just comes alive, and the crowd thinks, what's going to happen? I think a la Loa, he's been really good for us. A little few moments where he's been blown hot and cold, but he's coming back from an injury. The very easiest bit, and that is the attackers, the top two. Newcastle, there's got no players at all who will get near this. Not when you've got Chris Wood, who's got 10 goals. He's also got assists. He would walk into our first team, no doubt about it. We'll have to watch him like a hawk. You don't score 10 goals without being a decent player. After that, I did Omanar. There's a few options. Rodriguez, but I went with Ashley Barnes. He's got 6 goals in the Premier League, and again, that would make him top scorer at Newcastle. So I couldn't not put him in beside his partner from Burnley. So that is my team. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Be kind, comment section. I saw what you did, Owen. It was bang out of order, so don't try it again. Anyway, hand back over to Rooney.
Yeah, a very, very strange one from Paul. Ben Mee, is he a right back, maybe? So yeah, it's a mixture of Burnley and Newcastle players. Dwight Mcneil gets a big mention. I think he's one of Burnley's biggest threats going forward. But Ashley Barnes, yeah, he's a player. I think he's a really good player. I think very, very underrated. And he's always doing very well for Burnley. And Burnley look safe, 37 points already on the board. Do you agree with Paul's team? Get your comments in as well, and also get your predictions for the game on Saturday. We've got a quick clip from Sam. He's going to tell you everything that's going on with Newcastle Fans TV in the last couple of weeks.
Thanks, Johnny. This week on NewcastleFansTV.com, we've got plenty for you. First of all, my weekly column is back. This week, I've been looking at getting away with murder, which is what Steve Bruce and Newcastle United have definitely been doing this season. Secondly, Mr. Lawler has been a busy bee this week. 2 articles from him, 2 for the price of 1. His first one is looking at social media and social media trolls and the links with mental health. It's a real good, hard-hitting, interesting piece from him. Second article that he's done is about the forthcoming developments going on round St James's Park and how the magnificent views that we have of our cathedral on the hill is soon to be spoilt. Rob Spierel is back as usual with his weekly head-to-head. Burnley's the next game, so he'll be looking at our head-to-head record at home against the Clarets. And finally, if you're interested in writing for us, then please get in touch. That's how I got involved. Tweet us at Newcastle Fans TV, get in touch on Facebook or through the website, and register your interest, and we'll be in touch. So fingers crossed for a big performance and a much needed 3 points on Saturday. Back to you, Johnny.
So yeah, that is the preview. That is the big preview. My thanks to Paul, my thanks to Owen, my thanks to Kyle, and my thanks to Sam for helping us out in this preview. Remember, Newcastle take on Burnley on Saturday, 3 o'clock at St James's. All the videos will be out, the quick thoughts, the last words, we've got the scoring of players. It's going to be very, very busy. Hopefully Newcastle can get 3 points. It's a very busy week for Newcastle Fans TV as well. We've got the West Brom game where there's loads of scoring. Kyle, Paul, me, Lee and Sam are all going to be at the game. Might even see 40 at the game against West Brom, and Lee will be at the Southampton game with Owen next Saturday as well. So yeah, got a lot to look forward to on Newcastle Fans TV. And yeah, get your comments in for the game against Burnley, and like and subscribe to Newcastle Fans TV, and we'll see you all on Saturday.